different video games are on this controller. How much did I spend? $13 to get 50 video games and this soundtrack.
Good afternoon. How are you all doing? Welcome to another episode of Game Boy Killer, episode 22. We made it 22 whole episodes, and I'm hoping my computer is not dead yet from Windows updates that don't work because they're rubbish. But, you know, what do you expect? Might be the time to consider Linux. Just throwing that out there. Maybe it's time to try to figure that out. But for now, we are 22 episodes in on this series. You know, of course, last time we got a new top 10 game with Nintendo World Cup. In fact, all the games I looked at last episode were generally quite good. I mean, the worst game I looked at was Double Dragon, and even that isn't far off from the top 100, so... You know, I figure we need to go for some bootleg jank this time around. So, I've got a couple of cartridges here. A 6-in-1 and an 18-in-1. I love this 6-in-1, by the way. It's actually got the Fame engraved on the cartridge, which is pretty awesome. Unfortunately, I will not be playing this cartridge, and allow me to show you why. So, when we insert this cartridge into my GameCube, insert the game pack. Yeah, it just does that. If I try to play that cartridge on my Game Boy player, it doesn't work. So we're not going to be doing that one because I can't get it to work on the Game Boy player, and the games on it are all for Game Boy Color, so that rules out the Super Game Boy, so I don't really have a way of doing that one. Instead, we're going to take a look at this 18-in-1, which does work, and has most of the games anyway. So, let's do that instead. Here we go. Get the GameCube intro that you don't normally get to see. So, let's see what we've got. Oh, I've got a bit of a problem. The sound isn't working. It was working earlier. I don't know what happened. I'm pretty sure it's not the setup I've got. I don't know what's going on, because the sound is not coming from my TV. Even though it has done... Oh, okay, now it's working. Okay, let me turn that down a bit. Yeah, so... 18-in-1 from Taiwan, I think. With a smorgasbord, I don't know if that's a real word, but I'm going to say it anyway, a smorgasbord of games brought to us by Fast Fame and Gowin, or however you pronounce the name. Yeah. Two companies that we have not seen in this series, and I figure, you know, it's just not complete if you don't have some Fast Fame games on the list. I mean, I've done quite a few unlicensed games in this series already. So, let's take a look at some other ones. I'm not going to rank all of these, by the way. Just to let you know, I am not going to rank all of these games, because some of them are text-heavy RPGs, some of them are board games, and I don't think I'm going to be able to rank those. And, yeah, just as an example, let's take a look at Sango Wra, whatever that means. I think they meant Sango Wra. Yep, here we go. So we're going in right in the deep end on the Chineseness already. It's text scrolling right to left, so you know it's not going to be an Anglo game, let's say, or whatever the term might be. A game in English, as evidenced by the fact that none of the text on screen I can read. I have no idea what any of this says. So, yeah, I've ranked a few RPGs in this series. I mean, I've said before, I'm generally not a fan of the genre. But, you know, I could kind of get by with Pokemon and Dragon Slayer 1. That's not going to be the case with the RPGs on this cartridge. They're all turn-based, they're very text-heavy, they're all in Chinese. So, yeah, I'm just going to show these very briefly, just to show that they exist. to be honest, I'm not even sure what these games are called, let alone anything else. I'm pretty sure this isn't called Sango Wra in its original Chinese name. I think it probably is listed on Bootleg Games somewhere. So, yeah. If anyone wants to fill me in, you are welcome to do so. But, here we go. So I'm guessing this is based on Romance of the Three Kingdoms, as these games so often are when they're based on this theme. Like, you know, either that or the water margin, they tend to be based on one of those. And it's not really something I'm well versed in. You know, I've always been a bit of a book idiot, or whatever the opposite of a bookworm is. I've been making an effort to try to read more books recently. You know, get my eyes away from the screens a little bit. Just a little bit. But it's mostly been non-fiction. I don't know. Maybe I should try reading, like, Romance of the Three Kingdoms at some point. And figure out what's going on with those novels. Because I'm not familiar with them myself. But, yeah, like I say, I'm not going to rank these games, and the reasons why should be obvious. I tried to do that for the RPGs that Nice Code did, and I don't think it really worked. I mean, I think really that's the kind of thing that probably should be left to people who are fluent in Chinese and or like turn-based RPGs, and since I'm neither, I don't think I'm really qualified to really talk about these ones beyond the very obvious. So, yeah, I mean, this one, it's got a slight Zelda look to it, to me. But, yeah, whatever these people are saying, I haven't got a clue. I suppose there's ways to translate it on screen. You know, you get some kind of translator, do it on the fly. So this is obviously an inn, we don't want to use that. So, yeah, you can walk around. Walk around really fast, I must say. So, start brings up this pause menu. I do believe the engine used for these RPGs is original, at least from what I've read anyway. I don't claim to be an expert on RPGs on the Game Boy. I've played through Pokemon Generation 1, I've played a fair bit of Generation 2, and I haven't played much else besides that. But, yeah, you got all these different options. I think there is a save game option here. As you see, I'm level 1. Do have a decent amount of stats to start out with, so there's got that going for it. But yeah, we go in all these different buildings. I think this is the one I was just in, so we're gonna... Oh, yeah, you have to walk in and then out. Although, to be honest, for the brief amount of time I've spent with these games before, I don't think I'm even going to be able to get to a battle, at least on some of these, because some of them, if not all of them, require you to do some task before you can leave the starting area, and I don't know what the task is. And I don't know how to navigate the menus, because, again, they're all in Chinese. So, like, here we go. So, we can buy items. So this one increases HP. I'm guessing this one increases full HP? It's like full HP restore. And these, I'm guessing, probably have something to do with MP. Because there is an MP menu, so, I mean, I don't know what else it could be. Maybe there's some sort of quest item in there. But as you see, you got the bow and arrows. Or, well, arrows at least. And an empty house. And, like, wait, do they really need 2 stoves? Seems a little bit excessive. I mean, I've got 1 stove, and I'm living in the year 2025, so... I don't know. But here we go. We've got this map, I think. Or whatever it is. You tell me. But, I mean, who are we playing as? We're playing as Xiao Hu Dun. One of the blokes from Romance of the Three Kingdoms, anyway. I'm assuming it's one of the characters you can play as in Dynasty Warriors. Let's just put it that way. Also, yes, I am drinking, but it is non-alcoholic, I promise. Because I'm not really an alcohol person. You know, I don't go for vices. Unless excessive video game playing and chocolate is a vice. In that case, bring the vice. It's funny, I remember hearing a song called Ring a Vice, and I always kept mishearing the lyric as Bring the Vice, and I'm like, you know what, that sounds like a much cooler title, and I wish that that's what the song was actually called. So, oh, wait, did it stop bleeding? What's going on there? Why is there just like a blood drip? Okay, this game is going weird places now. Bring the vice, bring the vice. Like, a figurative vice, like drinking. Or maybe a literal vice. It's like Joe Pesci's going to show up and just try to crush someone's head with a vice. Like that bit in Casino. So, okay, what's going on now? We talked to this kid. At least I assume it's a kid, judging from the sprite work. And then we go in this building, which looks like a pub. Or the Chinese equivalent of a pub, which I'm guessing is a pub. But yeah, you just go through the opening stuff, then you go into the overworld and start fighting evil warriors, like Cao's forces or whatever. Like I say, maybe that's one of those books I need to read at some point. Why are they all bleeding? Like, I haven't even done anything. Like, am I just attacking them between text boxes? Also, I'm amused by the sounds that are taken from other games. But, yeah, so you can see what Vast Fame is capable of, you know, in terms of presentation. This actually seems quite good, you know, as far as a Game Boy Color game goes, especially an unlicensed one, you know. Very colourful, you know, as you would expect a Game Boy Color game to be, you know. I mean, considering some of the Game Boy Color bootlegs we've looked at before, you know, particularly the ones that Microsoft put out, where, I mean, they're barely in colour. It's like, here's 4 colours on the screen. That's good enough, apparently. That does happen with some bootlegs, but this shows the Vast Fame really were putting their work in to try to make these games work. But yeah, so let's see what we've got going on. Try to see if there's any update. But you can also see those kind of fade in and fade out, like fade to white, which, you know, you really couldn't get that on the original Game Boy. You know, that's tends to be a sign that it's a game that only works on Game Boy Color, which is also why I can't stream that 6-in-1 cartridge, because even if it worked on the Super Game Boy, I'm fairly certain the games themselves just wouldn't run, like they would just crash immediately. You know, that's why there were so many Game Boy Color games that didn't work on monochrome Game Boy. They just weren't compatible. You know, they used the extra RAM, or they used some sort of custom mapper or video mode that didn't have backward compatibility. Mostly lighter games. Ooh. Hello Clip, how are you doing? I'm attempting to play this RPG. Like I say, I'm not ranking this one, for good reason. Again, I can kind of get by with Pokemon. There is no way I'm going to be able to really get into this one, though. Like, is there even an English language version of this? I do know that, like, Vast Fame did try to translate a few of their games into English, but they tended to be so mangled, like, the translation just didn't make any sense. You know, like, it's interesting. Oh, well, the game actually allows me to leave the overworld. So let's go to the forest area, so we can actually see what the gameplay looks like. Yep, here we go. Oh no! The forces versus a giant tiger? Okay, what's going on? Okay, I don't remember the scene in Dynasty Warriors. But yeah, this is generally what all of these RPGs look like from what I remember. So we defeated a giant lion for some reason, and we got 20 XP. So I would have thought that we would just be fighting the evil soldiers. But no, we're just fighting an eagle instead, and for some reason the animals in this kingdom are massive. I mean, it says China or Australia. I don't know. Okay, we'll see what we can do here. Like I said, I've been reading a bit more recently. I've actually been reading the oral history of Games Master, because you know what? I've seen plenty of episodes of Game Master, or Games Master. There are 2 S's in the title, not just one. But yeah, I wanted to read up on that just out of interest. Okay, let's see if I can get past this first day. Okay, now we fight a giant... Okay, what is with the proportions in this? Like, why are my characters all chibified and everyone else is just kind of regular? I don't get that. Well, Evil Soldier is down. At least we can choose who to attack. It's one thing that I never liked in some of the early games. Like Phantasy Star, where you can't choose who to hit. The character just chooses them at random. And I was always like, well, why do they do that? It just doesn't make any sense. But, yeah. Well, I'll try to see if I can make past this first area, and then I'll probably call it. Or maybe not. Okay, well, as I say, I'm not going to bother ranking these games. I will briefly show them just so you can see what they look like. But I really want to focus more on the games that I do feel qualified to be able to rank. So let's take a look at Suiko Monster. Yes, so there may be some degree of competency, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. Yeah, like I say, a lot of these early games I'm not going to be able to rank. Like, I think Zook is probably the first one I'm going to be able to actually cover properly. So let's take a look at Suiko Monster. Whatever this is. Yeah, there we go. A sign of quality. Like I say, I don't know if these RPGs are actually any good, or if they're jank or whatever. I'm guessing they're probably better than the ones Nice Code put out, just by virtue of them not being by Nice Code. But it is kind of interesting how unlicensed games on Game Boy Color, they really do encompass many genres. But usually they're platform games, let's be honest. But there are a surprising number of RPGs that they put out. Like, you had even a couple of like tactical games, I think. I've never played them myself, but I know there was a Pokemon-themed one. There was like a card-themed one, I think. Something like that. Also, yes, Crazy Monopoly. I don't know if I'll be able to cover that one or not. I took a brief look at the gameplay on that and I'm like, is that one I'm going to be able to rank? I actually don't know. I might give it a go anyway. Okay, so they're not bleeding in this one, they're just sweating, I guess. Which kinda makes more sense. But, as you can see, it looks very much like the previous game. I mean, I don't know what these characters are supposed to... I don't even know what the theme for this game is, I've got to be honest. Also, thank you for the 5 stream streak, I appreciate it. Yeah, if anyone wants to tell me what this game is about, I'd like to know. Something about a Sanctity Monster, or no, Suiko Monster. I don't know, is this going to be like the last game crossed with Pokemon? Maybe? I mean, the music's not bad, I'll give it that. Though I'll turn it down a bit on my end just to make sure it doesn't echo. Also, why has this man got powder on his nose? Actually, I say that, I probably don't want to know the answer to that question. Okay, I guess someone just got murdered. This scene looks familiar. Is this scene from one of those Nice Code games? It might have been. Or maybe I'm just getting it mixed up with one of these games. But no, I've definitely played like a Famicom bootleg that had an area that looked like this. I want to say it was Nice Code, but maybe it was Shenzhen, Nanjing, or whoever. So I don't know what's going on with the sound here. I think the sound might have had a bit of a stomach upset before the screen loaded up. So they really like this one sound effect. Okay, I don't know why he was doing that. It's like, oh no, nothing happened. Time to... Oh. Are those TV screens behind the king? That old cannon's no match for the king. Yeah, I can tell you what this is about. We have old man, we have other old man. See, this is the problem with playing games like this when they're not in English. I have no idea what's going on. It's just like, okay, I guess we've got castles in the sky. So when's Ian Van Dahl going to show up? Remix the soundtrack. So I'll be down for that. Actually, like, why are they in the sky? Oh, tell me why. I need this to get through the stream. But, yeah. Thankfully, the games do get more action-based as we make our way through them. Let's put it that way. So is this the 108-year-old man? That's how you become king. You just live for 108 years. See, I wish I could live to be 108, just so I could see what the 22nd century looks like. But do I really want to see what the 22nd century looks like? I mean, if it involves living for that long, maybe it's not worth it. But who knows? I mean, if I could at least live to the year 2084, just so I could play Robotron 2084 in the year 2084, assuming that my eyes and my hands still work at that time, considering that, you know, I'll be in my 90s at that point. Do you ever think about how the kids born in this world today have a somewhat realistic chance of living into the 22nd century? I was thinking about this a couple of days ago. I don't know why I thought about it, or where that train of thought came from, but I was just thinking about it. You know, what horrors are those kids going to witness that we will never be able to see because we'll be long gone by that time? I mean, I guess technically I'm not necessarily that much older, but still. Also, by the way, this is still all opening cutscene, like I haven't even gotten into any gameplay yet. Ooh! It's a good face. Yeah, we've got the remix. There's a remix. This feels like a remix of something. Like a slowed down theme. That Godfrey Ho ripped off from something else. And then they remixed it for this game. I always love that, by the way, with the Godfrey Ho films, where like every piece of music is just taken from something else. Whether it's taken from another film, or some obscure album from Japan. Usually a soundtrack album for like a TV show. I'm sorry, when the game gives me nothing to work with, all I have to do is go. I don't even know why I'm doing that. Yeah, this is my poker face, by the way. I wish I could do that one face that Limmy does on that one episode of Limmy Show, where he's like, I feel like being a right bastard. And he's just like... I don't know how you do that face. Like, that would be a really good face to be able to recreate. Just because that's, like, the funniest sketch on that show. Like that one and the Wrong Way Down a One-Way Street. The height of comedy. Maybe this soundtrack should have Wrong Way Down a One-Way Street on it. The Jimmy Somerville remix. So is that Chun-Li on the left? No, I guess not. Or maybe that's Chun-Li on the right. I mean, it might as well be, for all I know. So we got Chun-Li 1, Chun-Li 2, Old Man, and Dragon Knot. Like, what even is that? I guess this is like a fantasy-themed version of Ancient China? I'm guessing? Something like that. Also, I can do this, by the way. Yeah, keep myself cool. Even though I don't really need to, it's not hot right now. By the way, if anyone wants me to, like, just skip to the next game, you're welcome to do so, because we've been here for, like, the last 10 minutes, and it's still just doing the cutscene. Like, is there a game in this game, or is it just, like, just one long cutscene that goes on for, like, 15 hours? Oh, no, okay, we can actually move. So I'm guessing this is the same system as the last game? Well, no, because I can't pause it. So, yeah, welcome to Down Arrow Town. Oh, good. Yeah, this is one of those where it's like, oh, no, you gotta do some objective that we didn't tell you about. Or if we did tell you about it, you couldn't read it. It's like, no, you gotta do more cutscene first. Okay, what's going on? Okay, well, I guess Dragon Knot blew up. And decided, yeah, I didn't want to bother. Or is this meant to be like the equivalent of choosing the Pokeball at the beginning of the Pokemon games? So, oh, well, I guess my dragon disappeared. I guess we're screwed now. No, never mind. I used fly. I mean, the fact that it's still just the cutscene. Okay, now can we leave? No, I guess not. No, the game just threw the book at me. Told me I need to learn. I mean, at least they gave a bit of animation. I'll give it credit for that. But, yeah, you can probably see why I'm not ranking these ones. It's not just because I'm lazy, it's because I don't think I'm really qualified to. You know, I've got my limitations of what I can do. It's like when I played that Beyblade game on one of the previous streams, and I couldn't figure out how to get past the menus. This is kind of the same deal as that, but for different reasons. So, oh, okay, now we're just in the town area, and yeah, the game still hasn't really started yet. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if I was prepared, I would have made save files for these games beforehand, but... So, you really think I'm going to make a save file for this? No. What we're going to do... You know, just to get the ball rolling, I'm actually going to take a look at a couple of Gowin games. Just so, you know, there is at least a little bit of production going on. Because there are actually 18 games, as you can see on the top of the screen, on this cartridge. Now, the first, I think, 12 games are from Vast fame, and these other 6 games come from Gowin. And these are actually pretty late-era monochrome Game Boy games, I think. So let's take a look at Fire Dragon. Let's see what this has going on. A name that may appear familiar. By the way, this does take a little while to load. Here we go. I don't know why it just stays on a blank screen for a while, but let's play a game that I can actually play to make up for the games that I can't play. So here we go. Life Link. Okay, I'm not sure what that means. Maybe that's the amount of links that you have to get to beat the level. Well, let's see. Yep. You know, I don't think we've actually seen any snake-likes on the Game Boy yet. Like, we saw the game Serpent, which was kind of like a 2-player variant, but it wasn't quite the same. And you know what? You know, is it really a Game Boy list if you don't have a snake-type game on the list? I mean, I guess we kind of have one, but... Yeah, this one's more true to the original concept. Also, yeah, the buttons don't seem to do anything in this game. Now, you may have heard of Fire Dragon for the Famicom, or the NES, made by Gamtech, and this might come from the same people, or some of the same people. I mean, yeah, I think under its original name it does share the same title. But yeah, the Famicom game isn't very good. Had really bad audio. The game played okay, but yeah, you'd certainly want to play it on mute, if anything. But yeah, decided, you know what, we're going to play some Snake. Oh, we got a couple left. So, yeah, there we go. And then you beat the level. And then we get this amazing OC that looks like it was drawn by Scrimby. Also, I do like that font that they use in these games as well. Like, that is a face. It's meant to be a dragon. I can't tell. Anyway. Level 2. Oh no, they're adding blocks in the way now. So don't crash into the blocks, because you'll die. Okay, I think I get what they mean by link. Basically, that's how many of these fires that you have to run into before you can beat the level. Yep, this game's got the good faces going on. But, like I say, Gowin, I mean, they may have had some sort of connection to Vast Fame. I'm guessing maybe there was a staff member or some sort of connection via management, maybe, between the two companies, which is why these games ended up on this multicart. Apparently, this multicart would have been released circa 2002, sometime in the early 2000s at least. Certainly when you look at the Vast Fame games on here, they all would have been released around that time. Although it's funny, I read upon Bootleg Games Wiki, apparently this game was released around 1998. Like, this actually, I think, post-dates the release of the Game Boy Color. So, I don't know if maybe they made this earlier, and they sat on it for a while before releasing it. Or, if they just didn't feel like giving it Game Boy Color support. I don't know. But yeah, so I think, you know, like, this is a game I feel qualified to talk about. You know, I might not have had this game back in the day, but I did have a Nokia phone as a kid, and, you know, I spent a fair amount of time playing Snake on that. So I know a thing or two about this style of game. Like I said, I used to play that a lot. Wasn't the best version of Snake. It was one of those where you could, like, press the direction that you're going the opposite to and then kill yourself immediately. This game doesn't do that. I actually tried doing that just to see if it worked, and yeah, this game is smart enough to make it so that you can't just immediately go backwards into yourself. So, see a little trick that I pulled off there. That's when you go pro Fire Dragon. I do kind of like the background, as simple as it is. I mean, maybe it would look better with a different colour scheme applied. I just went for this one because I thought it looked interesting. So I don't know why I keep doing that. Probably not the best idea for staying alive. But also, like, to be fair, there is a time limit, so I can't be too hasty. Or I can't be completely not hasty. Though, this game certainly looks better than Fire Dragon. I mean, for one thing, the tail is actually animated properly. A bit like the snakes and Battletoads, like from that one level in that game. Also, I'm trying to figure out what the stuff on the top mean. So you got all these icons, like, I mean, the heart, I assume, is the amount of lives you have. Also, where is the flame I need to get? Okay, there it is. Yeah, I can see why not being able to see the whole screen may be an issue. But I'm doing it so far. But, I don't know. You ever played Snake? I mean, there were a couple of versions of Snake on the Watara Supervision, which are varying quality, let's say. I do quite like the Snake on the... I think it was literally just called Snake. But, yeah, it's quite a good version, I'll say. You know, graphics are... Well, they're as good as you would expect for an unlicensed Game Boy game. You know, we have certainly seen far worse. Although, certainly I'm running short on time in this game. So that may be a problem. Like, I've still got to get, like, 7... Is there a way to... Oh, wait, does it play the Konami pause sound? Okay, I like the fact that you can pan the screen around. That's actually quite helpful. Nope, and I'm about to run out of time. Wow, they really do not give you time to do it. It's like, well, what was I supposed to do then? It's like, yep, stage 3. Time to make the time limit super tight. I was like, why uses the Konami pause sound? I don't know. Maybe they've ripped off the sound driver from one of their games. Which seems entirely possible, because it seems like most unlicensed Game Boy games, they rip off the sound from something else. But sometimes they do try to make their own sound driver, and usually that's Macinsoft, which, you know, you think, well, maybe they should have just ripped off something else. Okay, so we're going to go super fast. Or maybe if they just keep spawning near where I am. There we go, gotta leave myself space to maneuver. So it feels like you really can't just go around a lot of the time, like the game doesn't give you enough time. And yeah, you've got this problem where sometimes you just can't see where the next one is. Like, you literally have to pause the game. A bit like Bubble Bobble on Game Boy, and I didn't like the Game Boy version of Bubble Bobble, for the record. I mean, partly for that, but also just I just didn't think it played that well. It does feel a little bit RNG based in terms of, well, where the flames actually spawn. It's like, do I have to move down or do I have to move right? Or do I have to do both? Because not knowing where that was, I would have just gone down. And it does seem like the time is going a bit fast. I'm not sure if that's intentional. You know, it's like Super Mario Bros. Time, where it goes down faster than you think it should. Yeah, and then it's like, oh, well, the last one spawned back the way you came. It's like, well, okay, where is this flame that I'm supposed to get? Is it just on the complete opposite end of the level? I don't know. So yeah, I'm definitely seeing the same problem that Bubble Bobble had on Game Boy. And like I say, I, again, wasn't a fan of that version. Okay, so we did it. Ugh. This is Link Dragon, or Fire Dragon, whatever it's called, for Game Boy. I've got it listed here as Fire Dragon. So, hello Amber, how you doing? I hope you're well. So, yeah, if you're, again, you ever played Snake? Kind of the same deal. Except this game has a quite tight time limit to deal with. So you cannot mess about like this. Like, really, to make sure you got enough time to do it, you have to keep going through those tight corners. Like this. So, yeah, this game expects you to be pretty good. Which apparently I'm not. Okay, we'll try this again. And, yeah, you'll note that the spawn points are randomized. At least I think they are. They are spawning in different locations, I think. Maybe it's based on... I don't know. Maybe if you play it the same way, exactly the same every time, they'll keep spawning in the same locations, but I kind of doubt it. Try to see if I can do this level. Nope, apparently not. Cannot do it. Hold on. What happens if I say to, like, the easier level? Okay, well, I can turn that down at least. Actually, if I set this to, like, 50, does it give me more time to complete it? I don't know. Yeah, I think it may change the time limit based on what you set the limit to. So it's not a case of setting it to 30 necessarily makes it easier. I guess technically it does in a sense, because the level is shorter. But the game also adjusts the time limit to match, which can be awkward. But, I mean, at least it lets me continue from where I got up to. It's not like, oh, you died, now you have to redo the whole game. There is at least some forgiveness. I mean, I guess you lose the score, but also, who cares about the score? I mean, I guess for a game like this, maybe. But it's not like there's any kind of high score table, so it's like, whatever. And I don't think you get extra lives from score either, so it's kind of just there to exist. But, I'm amused by the artwork, I have to say that. I mean, I will say this as well. Audio is fine. And the graphics, I mean, they've rendered it in such a way that there is a background, but the background isn't too busy. So I'm kind of thankful for that. That's the problem with certain games where you can't easily tell what's in the foreground and what's in the background. Like, there's a background, but it doesn't get in the way of the gameplay. Like, I think about Fire Dragon on the Famicom, and how that game didn't really have a background. Like, they just didn't bother to render one. It was just a black with whatever obstacles were in the way. But, you know what? That face gives this game points. It gives it the worm visitor points. But, okay, level 6 looks a lot like level 5, except the background's a bit different. I guess the blocks look a bit different as well. They look like they were taken from Tetris, actually. Just like the square blocks from that game. Actually, this level looks a fair bit easier than the previous one, which is interesting. It's not expecting me to go through a whole load of tight turns. Though I still find a way to die, because it's me. But, I don't know. I'm not sure if we really need to see more of this one, necessarily. Because, let's face it, we all know what these types of games are. I kind of want to get up to level 10, just because, like, just in case there's a boss fight or something, but not entirely sure. I get the feeling probably not. But yeah, there was also, I think, a Mega Drive version of this, which I want to say that version was better. I don't know, this I want to say lies somewhere between the Famicom and Mega Drive games in terms of quality. And I think I messed up. Though actually, no, now that I look at it, the game actually does seem to give you plenty of time if you set the limit to 30. So I guess if you want to beat the game quicker, that's the way to do it. But you probably could have figured that out anyway. But, yeah. Brings back memories of playing on my Nokia back in the day. Because I'll tell you that Nokia Snake game was cool. And so was the skydiving game that they basically ripped off from Pilot Wings. But as a kid, I never played Pilot Wings because I didn't have the game. Didn't have the game. Oh, is this stage 6? I thought it was 7. Okay, I guess not. Also, it is kind of funny how much the levels in this game, they look less like levels from Snake and more like levels from Bubble Bobble. Especially with that background, it gives me Bubble Bobble 2 vibes. Now I'm kind of digging the music a little bit. But like I say, this multicart seems to be from 2002. And again, there's some real quality games on it, as we will see. There's one in particular that I actually spent a couple of days last week playing through. And we'll get to that one later. But first, I gotta play myself some Snake. Or Fire Dragon, or Link Dragon, whatever you want to call it. So, funnily enough, the time limit is a lot more forgiving here than it was on level 3. Okay, let's see if level 7 has anything different, and then I think we'll call it. So I think we know what's going on. Anyway, yeah, again, this really does look like a Bubble Bobble level. which is kind of funny. But anyway. Where does Fire Dragon go on the list? Well, we look at what's on the list already. I mean, you know, you do have Serpent, which is a little bit like this, but not quite the same. I'm trying to think what to compare this to. I mean, I guess when I think of, like, you know, very meat and potatoes games, like really basic stuff that could have come out in 1989, like this gives off slight vibes of something like Alleyway. And I like Alleyway. But Alleyway's a very simple game. You know, it's a game that exists to just remake Breakout. And it does that, but it really doesn't do much more than that. The presentation in that game is very plain. So you got the cool little bit at the beginning where Mario jumps in the paddle. You got the bonus levels, and that's it. Whereas, you know, Fire Dragon, you got a nice soundtrack. You got the Konami pause sound. You've got the really cool face that appears between levels. You've got options. You can change the difficulty or how long it takes to beat each level, which is nice. If you get a game over, you don't have to redo the entire game again. It has an actual background. So I'd say it's better than Alleyway. Like, I would take this over that. It's better than Yakuman. Yakuman is okay. But you really need a second person to really get much out of it, I think. It's better than Street Heroes. I think it's better than Cheeky Cheeky Tengoku. Because that game is good enough for what it is, but it was also just kind of like something that the programmer made in their spare time, and then the head of the company looked at it and was like, you know, we should release this. At least that's what I remember reading anyway. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but yeah, it was just kind of like a little, you know, fun little project they were doing in the spare time. They just kind of released it, and it was like, yep, this is all it is. You just match things together. And it's alright. But that's about it. Burai Fighter... I mean, Burai Fighter is kind of just the NES game Burai Fighter, but not quite as good. It's like, I would rather just play that. And I've played other Snake games on other handhelds of the time, and generally I don't think they're as good. They don't control as well. Like, often you can press the opposite direction that you're going in and it kills you instantly. Where this game doesn't have that problem. It's actually quite a solid version of Snake, it has to be said. Like, it plays very well. The difficulty is a bit odd, where, you know, you get sort of... It's a bit all over the place. You do have the issue where a flame that you have to run into spawns off screen, and you have to pause the game to see where it is. But at least you can move the D-pad around to do that, and it's not as bad as something like Bubble Bobble, where you're constantly getting attacked by enemies from off screen. So at least the problem is, it's much less of a problem than it is in something like that, which is why it's going higher on the list. But I would take this over Burai Fighter. It's better than Rebel Saber 2. I would probably take this over R-Type. I mean, R-Type is a good version, but it's also... You know, when you can play the PC Engine or Master System versions... I mean, even at the time you could play those on handhelds, and they're better versions of the game. The Game Boy version is just kind of a little bit needlessly too hard, I think, compared to other versions. And I think that kind of lets it down a bit. It's better than R-Type, but it's not better than Mega Man 2. I'm going to say it's our new number 92. But there we go, Fire Dragon, a top 100 game. But, see what else we've got going on with this multi-cart. Let's take a look at some Vast Fame games. As I say, I'm probably going to skip through a lot of these, such as Sanctity Monster, which I'm going to guess is very similar to the first two games. So we're probably only going to look at this one for a few minutes. Okay, well, so far, looking slightly reminiscent of Pokemon Diamond and Jade, with that whole game's propensity of having you go into trees to enter different worlds. Though this probably isn't quite the same. The sanctity of Monster must be preserved. So I don't know what it was with like monsters and RPGs at this time. Just like every game needed to have them. You know, Pokemon, obviously, Digimon, Monster Rancher, you know, Telefang, Medabot, you know, whatever else. Well, maybe not Medabot, but you know. It was just kind of the style at the time. But again, it's got some real presentational chops, I'll say that. Also, they got the website, which I'm guessing doesn't work anymore. I wonder if that website has been archived. I probably should have checked that before I went on the stream. So here we go. Save file 1. But yeah, it looks a lot like the first 2 games so far, I'm not going to lie. This is going to be another one of those games that has like a 15-minute cutscene before you can do anything. Oh no, we can just do this right away. So here we go. Let's talk to Blue Man. There's a face. And again, as I go through these games, because I mean these aren't going to be ranked anyway. If anyone wants me to skip them, then feel free to let me know. So we've got a, I don't know, is that like middle-aged Darkside Phil? Hello. Okay, well, I don't know what you're talking about. See, this is the problem. I wish I had someone here who was fluent in Chinese and could advise me on what's actually going on in the game. Okay, this looks exactly the same as the other man. So, okay, well, I can't buy anything, but are these... So I'm guessing I can buy monsters? It's a bit like that pachinko parlor in Pokemon where you can win a Dratini or whatever. And, yeah, here we go. Don't know what's going on. Here's old woman. That's a character trait. Woman who also happens to be old. But again, looks very much like the previous games. So it's kind of... What can I say? It is a game that exists. It may even be a good game. Also, I like that one Chinese character that just looks like it says a badge. It's like, ooh, this is a badge. Yeah, that last character. I mean, I have no idea how to actually say that character. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be a badge. That seems unlikely. It was a game telling me on how to acquire badges through progression. Yeah, so this is why I'm glad I got to play Pokemon Diamond and Jade, because there I could kind of read the text, even if it didn't make a whole lot of sense. It's kind of a shame that we don't have the English versions of these games. Just because the translations are so bad that they end up being hilarious. But as I say, I don't have those, so it can't be helped. Again, this 6-in-1 that I've got, I'm pretty sure the games on that are also in Chinese. So, again, I mean, playing those isn't going to help. I think it's this cartridge that I'm playing now is missing one of the games that's on that 6-in-1, Soul Falchion. I don't think that's on this, which is a shame, because I would have loved to have played that one. That's a game I actually kind of understand what's going on, because it's just a fighting game. But unfortunately, we cannot take a look at that one, unless I want to turn the stream into a camcorder LP circa 2008. And just, like, hold up the Game Boy Color, like, in front of the screen, and you try to figure out what's going on. Yeah, I'm just going to just hold it in the A button and just occasionally tap it. But, also, yeah. You know, for a second I thought maybe I'd pressed the wrong button by accident and I accidentally started the cutscene again. No, it's still going. And no, it's done. And I'm guessing I can't check anything? No. Oh, wait, I guess I start off with all these? Or can I buy them? Wait, do I have to press the... Okay, I press the B button and it does this. And wait, does it say I have 5,000 gold? Because earlier it said I had none. So I'm guessing maybe I got money from... Yeah, I probably got money from that woman, if I had to guess. So here we go. Evil Blue Man shows up. Oh no, not the evil Blue Man. And the other Blue Man gets dragged away, I guess. Okay. Or he just decides to walk with him. It's like, yeah, I'm done with this. I'm bored in this town. Okay, let's... Yeah, so now I've got 5,000 gold. So I have no idea what these things actually are. It's like, I mean, is that Dratini? Let's go for that. No, it looks more like well, somewhere between a snake and a xenomorph. Okay, what even... what is going on here? I don't believe the sanctity of these monsters have been preserved. But this seems like it may actually turn out to be like a strategy RPG or something like that. Which is different compared to... Yeah, I think that may be what this is, actually. Yeah, so we gotta fight this dude, I think. Yeah. Oh, no. I'm gonna tell you right now, I can't stand these games. Like, even when they're in English, I'd be like, you know what, I cannot tolerate playing this more than, like, 2 minutes. Like... No offense to anyone who likes these games, but, like, I just can't. Like, these games are like JP Poison. It's like, you asked me to play these games. It's like asking a vegan. It's like asking a staunch vegan to eat, like, the world's greatest... To play, you know, eat the world's greatest plate of veal. Don't be surprised if they just throw it back in your face. And yell profanities. Yeah. And I'm going to say for the record, I don't know how to play these games. Again, even if this was in English, I wouldn't have a fucking clue. You know, I think I tried to play, what was that game? Shine Force once, and I didn't know what to do, and I didn't like it either. I don't know. I mean, if anyone likes playing these games, raise your hand. Because, I don't know, maybe this is good, but again... Even if this was in English, I still wouldn't bother. Again, like asking me... Like, you ask me to play Shining Force, you may as well be asking me to eat my own toes. You'd be getting basically the same response. But there we go, that's Sanctity Monster. Again, maybe that's a good game. But I'm not the right person to cover it. So, Crazy Monopoly. Now, this is one... I don't know if I'm going to be able to cover this one. The first 3 games I know I can't. Partly down to my own tastes, but also... Yeah, just not really understanding what's going on in any of them. The Crazy Monopoly, in the year 2000, we decided to play a board game on the Game Boy Color. Oh, with a nice stretched limo. See, now we're talking. Wait, what's going on here? Okay, this is, we're already off to a good start. There's a face. You know, I briefly looked up a video on this game, trying to figure out if this is a game that I might be able to rank. And the results were inconclusive. Also, I don't know what it is about bootleg games always referencing the Titanic. You know, we had that, that bootleg platformer with Meowth just reciting the lyrics. And now we got this game with Titanic as well. Oh, here we go. Welcome to Taipei, I guess. Oh no, it's being assaulted by a monster thing. Because apparently even board games cannot go without monster sanctity. But what do I do here? Okay, I guess I select this option. Yep, that sounds good to me. I mean, yes, Titanic at the time was, like, the biggest film ever made. Like, I do get that, but it's just kind of funny how... Because I never see this in licensed games, outside of maybe, like, the trailer for Sheep on the PS1. But I don't tend to find games that reference the Titanic, except for games that actually are based on the Titanic. So I'm just going to enter my name. I'm going to be Mr. Wang. That's going to be my name. We're going to pick this character just because it's the one right below it. Wait, hold on. I'm not playing as all of these, am I? Like, I hope the rest of these are computer controlled. But, you know, it's kind of funny, the amount of bootleg games that are based on Titanic, like, I mean, there were 3 on the Famicom alone. You had the Nice Code Titanic thing, get that, if I could talk. Yeah, there was the Nice Code Titanic game that I played through once. There was Titanic from Hummer Team. There was also the Titanic RPG, which, I mean, if there was ever a film that doesn't make sense as an RPG, it's probably Titanic, especially if it takes place entirely after the boat hits the iceberg. Also, I do love this. It's like, welcome to the Vast Fame News Studio, where we report on the goings-on of this board game. Reminds me a bit of Chinese checkers on the Supervision, actually, where at the end of the game, Dr. Popo shows up to announce the winner, which I always thought was fun. Actually, probably one of the best games on the Supervision, just for its presentation, really. So, okay, it turns out news crews in Taiwan, they tend to blink a lot. Reminds me a bit of Xanadu. How, like, the characters blink every other frame in that game. What are they doing? You do not need to blink this much. This is like me when I've got fucking migraine. But here we go. Welcome to Taiwan. So, yeah. It was big, but it couldn't stop an iceberg. But yeah, you know what's really funny? So I don't know if anyone is familiar with Random Stranger, which is a YouTube channel. Once covered every single game on the Famicom. And one thing I learned from that series was that it turns out there are a lot of board game adaptations on the Famicom, and most of them seem to be based on the game of life. Now, I must admit, I don't know if this is one of them. I mean, I can't tell if this is the game of life, or if it's based on, like, what was it, Fortune Street or Boom Street? I get the feeling this may be a variation on Fortune Street, which, if you don't know, was a series of games by... Who made it? Was it Square or was it Enix? I think it was one of them. But yeah, they basically had a whole series. There was one game that got localized on the Wii where they made it Mario themed. I think that's the game where they got the whole meme about like Yoshi not paying his taxes. I think that comes from Fortune Street. So let's see what we got going on here. So, oh, well, I guess something happened. Also, this dude gets a boat. I just have to walk on the water because apparently I'm Jesus. Welcome to May! Yeah, I will say I do love the interstitial screens. Yeah, this, as I say, is a board game. Again, I can't tell if it's based on Game of Life or if it's based on Fortune Street. Because again, to me, those games look very similar. I know they play differently, but in terms of how they play, I'm not entirely sure on how they work. Plus the fact that I keep landing on the exclamation mark spaces, which I guess are like the chance card spaces in Monopoly. Things got that kind of thing going on. Though, I will point out, by the way, so the real title of this game is Feng Quang Dafu Weng. So I did look this up before the stream. Of course, the menu just calls it Crazy Monopoly. So I think I lost some money on the last turn. Going by the numbers. And now the opponent lands on the same space that I do. Let's see what happens. Okay, now I think it's just... Welcome to June. Okay, let's see if I can land on an actual space and hopefully not roll a 2. Okay, here we go. So, let's see what happens if I land on this. Oh! Fireworks! Is that a good sign? Congratulations! Oh, you know, finally some good news. Also, yeah, sometimes, like, they just cut back to the news crew. I guess they're just telling you what's going on. Again, I'm pretty certain this game never got released in English. Like, there were certain Fast Fame games that got English translations, but most of the games on this cartridge I don't think ever did. There were at least a couple, but again, I'm fairly certain this wasn't among them. So, yeah, it's basically just saying, you know, this person has this amount of money, you know, whatever. So I think it's just whoever has the most money amount at the game, at the end of the game wins. Also, I've apparently forgotten how to talk. This Chinese text has confused me so much. Yeah, they got a lot of blinking as well. So I think this is telling us where we need to go for the bonus. It's like saying you have to go to this spot on the map. So I'm guessing it's the case that I went to the right place. So I don't know if the locations of these characters relate to where they are on the map. Like, do I need to go to the top left corner of the map? Or is it somewhere else? Because it doesn't point it out on that map on the top right. So I don't know. Like, again, I imagine if I could read the text, it's the kind of thing that I would know from that. So, like, what have we got here? So I think this is to do with buying stocks. So, here we go. 30%. Though I'm going to guess I probably can't do it because I don't think I have enough money. But let's just see what that does. Yeah, so I think this is more like Fortune Street than anything else. Can I roll the dice? Bootleg Fighters. I thought it was called Famicom Fighters, wasn't it? Wait, what's going on? Okay, I'm not pressing anything. The game is just doing this itself. And now I'm confused. So, is the game glitching out, or did I just select, I'm just going to buy all the stocks option? Give me Bing Stonks. Let's stomp to the rhythm of the honky-tonk. So I guess I bought stocks. Though, if Fortune Street has taught me anything, you know, from watching other people play it at least, it's that generally you want to be buying stocks anyway, because you're just cashing on them later. And I do know that there was a game like this on the Famicom. I think it was called Itadaki Street. Great, and I get hole 1. Okay, what happens on this? Great. Fine, let's go for 25%. No, apparently I can't. Yeah, gotta be honest, don't really know what I'm doing here. But I have summoned a devil, so maybe that's a good sign. I don't know. Should I rank this one or should I move on? Because I get the feeling... I don't really know how I'm going to rank this. But there has been a state of panic induced from the other characters selecting something on the menu. Also, I can't select this. It's just doing it itself. It's like, yep, we've decided that the opponent has to go through all the menus manually, which is bizarre. Yeah, like literally, I'm not even pressing anything. It's just the game doing this. Okay, now I can do it. Not sure what's going on there. S-T-O-N-K, let's donk. You know what's really funny? One of my earliest memories was that my family had a VHS tape with a few music videos from 1991, and one of them was The Stonk by Hale and Pace, which was actually a charity single about putting a red nose on your nose. And then the other music videos on there were the ones with the Simpsons. So it was Do the Bartman and Deep Deep Trouble. That was the other Simpsons one. So that was back when the Simpsons was at its best. You know, I'm going to throw out a take. I think Series 2 of the Simpsons was the best one. You know, and maybe you disagree, but I really like that second one. That was when it was a little bit more down to earth than what it was like later on. Okay, so I guess don't land on the minus. But, okay. So, gotta be honest, I don't think I really know how to rank this one. I mean, maybe if I could read the text, I'd probably have a better idea. But I'm probably going to have to flush this one, I think. Not that it's a bad game, just that I haven't got a clue how I would rank it. And there is a Crazy Rich Man 2, which I imagine is going to be much the same thing. So let's see what Apotheosis is. You know, that classic game, Apotheosis. What is this? Oh, that! Okay, we're off to a good start already. Man with scarf. Traditional Chinese lady. And, the man with the plan. It's in that scroll. Yeah, so from 2002, I presume that says Fast Fame. The craziest rich man. Okay, so what is this? So I guess... Yeah, it would have been a late era. So it's really funny too, because Fast Fame did go on to make a couple of Game Boy Advance games. I think they're the ones that made that Lord of the Rings bootleg that was based on the Pocky and Rocky engine. Which I seem to recall was actually quite good, but... You know, Game Boy Advance is outside the scope of this series. Like, we're doing Game Boy and Game Boy Color. You know, we're sticking with 8-bit. And again, probably not going to be able to do this one. And, yeah, here we go. Let's go into this area. Go into town. So we've got Young Man, and we have Man with Mustache. And, we got Cutscene. So I'm guessing this is probably a little bit more refined than, you know, previous Fast Fame games. If I had to take a guess, which I may as well, because what else am I going to do? Well, they figured out how to let you skip cutscenes faster, so that's a good sign. I give it points for that. But here we go. Welcome to the Apotheosis. The sanctity of the Apotheosis. This isn't just like a gambling game, is it? Surely not. No, this has to be like an RPG. Look, I can't even tell what this is. We're inside just a giant... Is this a hotel? So yeah, welcome to the hotel. You can just walk into people's rooms. Also, a lot of the people look the same. So I don't know what's going on there. Welcome to room 204. Nope, can't go in that one. Room 203. Oh, with a TV. Let me turn on the TV. And see the V-Fame proof from the last game. Also, yeah, you can't really expect objects, which is kind of a disappointment. And boxes. Oh, you mean like the boxes that the games came in? I thought you were talking about a game called Boxes. Because it was in a... Or, you know, with the cap. I've seen nice code games called Boxes before. So, okay, I guess we're just in a hotel. Haven't got a clue what I'm doing. I'm probably going to skip this one, I think. Okay, you know what? Let's play another one of the Gowin games while we're here. Because I think we may as well do this one. Because it's maybe a little bit less interesting than the other Gowin games we're going to see later. So let's try this one out. Okay, let's go for this colour scheme just because... Yes, welcome to Magic Ball! Yeah, boxes. Is that game where you draw... You play with a piece of paper and just draw the lines and create boxes? Oh, more interesting OCs. Here we go. The Onion Man with sweet potatoes as hair for some reason. What's going on with this? Okay, here we go. Let's go full power! Oh, okay, that was going the opposite way I thought it would. Oh yeah, I remember this. So basically you've got to destroy the boxes that are a different colour. It's a bit like Lunar Pool, but without the pool. There we go, collected a nice pot of paint, I guess. And we got in the hole! Hooray! Also, yes, Lasama. Passwords 1, 2, 3, 4. The most secure of all the passwords. I love these OCs, by the way. They look amazing. Yeah, let's just do this. Also, You know, it's kind of amazing. Apparently this game was from 1998, and yet it is just about the most simplistic looking game you'll find on the Game Boy. I mean, obviously, again, this is a monochrome game. Ooh. There we go. Just getting the exit. Yeah, I've played this one a little bit myself, and what even is that? Like a mole with a top hat and massive lips? Oh, I remember this now. Yeah, so I think that fan kills you, if I remember this game rightly. So, yeah, you want to avoid that. So it's a case of try to find the exit. And as I say, this game really has a Lunar Pool vibe to it. But yeah, again, yeah, this really does look like something that would have come out in 1989, which, again, I think this is from 1998, or certainly, like, late era. Like, this does not feel like a 1998 game, let's be honest. Oh. Also, I forgot that thing can just move in any direction at once. Which can be a problem. Let's get away from it. So I did play a game on that Saturn multi-cart called Zip Ball, and I think... yeah, this may have a similar concept to that, actually, now that I look at it. It's like, except Zip Ball, I think you only moved in cardinal directions, and you weren't doing this sort of launching mechanic in that game. Like, it was just... it was just kind of, okay, guide the thing left, right, up, or down, and try not to get killed. There we go. Also, when did that fan move? Okay, that's weird. But yeah, the actual in-game graphics that look like 1989, and then, well, the graphics that appear between levels look like they came from another universe. Let's try this out. Oh, give me the... no, I want the clock! Which, for some reason, causes me to move vertically. I don't really get that. Oh, also, yeah, some of the things you don't want to reveal. Because the enemies just tend to get in the way. Okay, so let's not go full power, because... oh. Yeah, this thing. I can't even tell what the enemies do, besides just knock you into things that kill you. And then you got situations like this, where you just kind of wait until you can do something. It's like, here we go, getting eaten up by the evil burger. Oh, no, it's... well, just to find the exit. No! But I do note the fact that the timer goes up, so I don't know if you can run out of time. Or if... I was thinking maybe it was to do with points, but... yeah, I don't think the points are really going to do anything in this. Let's try to position myself. And not like that. That wasn't really what I was thinking, but... oh, come on, that was in the hole. I call shenanigans game. Especially when I can't really do anything at this point. No! So that's the problem, where it's in, like, an alcove, and you've got to, like, position yourself just right to get into it. It's like that, like, even if, like, the enemy spits me into the hole, it doesn't count. I gotta do it myself. But, yeah, here we go. Give me that password. I kind of want to see what World 2 looks like. Also, yeah, the sound's not quite as good as Fire Dragon, I don't think, but... hold on, maybe... let's go for a trick shot. No, apparently the single ones can reveal enemies as well. I wasn't aware of, but I can reveal the paint. I mean, it may as well be paint for all I can tell. Like a paint or a tub of peanut butter. And now we've got this thing again. Wait, can I go off the edge of the screen? Or do I just run into the border thing and then just bounce back? Well, I've got a nice score of 0-1-1-1-1-0. It's my favourite score, that. But yes, magic ball in the house. Can I get down here? Probably not. No, because this thing's just spit me the way I came. I think that may be the issue with this game, like just the fact that the enemies often just prevent you from being able to do what you want. And just get in the way. And it's not even a case of they kill you most of the time, it's more just they're kind of just in the way. Also, it's one of those games, it's a bit like golf where you can't really tell how far the ball is going to go just based on the meter. Because it doesn't tell you, like, general distances, you just have to guess. Though, I mean, even in golf, you could read the manual and it will give you a pretty good idea. Whereas this game, you really can't. I'm going to guess the exit probably somewhere around here. Yeah, so of course there's an enemy here, and of course that's where the exit is. Yeah, I think I may see what the issue is with this game, like the fact that you just have enemies just constantly blocking the exits. And the levels aren't really set up that well for you to actually get to the exits. So what am I supposed to do here? Okay, well... okay, I don't know why I set it to full power, that was me being an idiot. But yeah, it does make me think of Zip Ball, but... I don't know. Kind of also reminds me of the problems of Zip Ball. The trouble with Zip Ball. And by extension, the trouble with Magic Ball. And you also can't tell how the ball is going to actually bounce off the walls until it hits it. You know, like Jimmy White's wall in snooker, this ain't. I'll tell you that much. And especially when you got stuff like that, where the ball just goes off in a completely random direction when an enemy touches it. Where it just doesn't want to make much sense. Plus you have to, like, if there's an enemy near where the exit is, you have to rush the movements as well. And because the power meter is constantly moving up and down, you have to pray that, like, the planets align. And that the enemy isn't in the way of your shot. There we go. So eventually you can do it. So here we go. Hooray! We passed! And now we can go to level 6, I guess. And that's my score. I don't know if that means anything. Welcome home! Yeah, they had a bit of fun with the passwords at least. Oh, well, we got a different soundtrack at least. Oh. And we got this again. Hooray! I like being bounced around in a random direction every single time I try to do anything. But, you know, do you think you can stay at the top like this forever? I have quantifiable reservations. I don't even know why I used that quote, but whatever. Oh, but we got the durians. I can't even tell what those are. Yams. Shout out to all the yams. Shout out to this bastard burger that just gets in the way. Yeah, I think maybe this game has a message that junk food is bad and only gets in the way of progress. You know, like, yeah, fuck McDonald's. No, we are here for progression, not regression. A four-letter word that should be a password. Pink? You think I should try typing in pink and see if it works. Though, given that this is a monochrome game, I'm going to guess probably not. Berg. No! I wanted the fruit, and the game's not giving me the fruit. Come on, let's do this. Trick shot, go! Yeah. I can tell you right now, Kirby's block wall, this ain't. Say that straight up. Full power! So yeah, I don't get the physics. It seems to always go at full speed, first off. It doesn't... The power meter, it doesn't change the speed. It changes the rate of deceleration, which I don't really get that. Yeah, this is like someone tried to take Alleyway and do something different with it, and it just didn't quite work. Because when you got the enemies constantly blocking all the exits, yeah, it doesn't really help. Hold on. Can I go back? Let's just try entering just random passwords and see if I can go further into it. So here we go. Let's try pink. So everything goes up to P. Wait. Okay, so if you get the password wrong, it's like, nope. Yeah, sort of. I guess it's a bit like zany golf on the Mega Drive, but yeah, maybe not quite as good. Okay, where does Magic Ball go on the list? Well, I can tell you straight away, this is not as good as Fire Dragon. Like, Fire Dragon may be basic, you know, it is just Snake, but it's a good version of Snake. This... I don't know, I've played other games that are a bit like this, but are also better. Like, again, it's got the feel of, like, a crazy golf game, or, more than anything, Lunar Pool. And Lunar Pool is a far better game than this. It was a lot less tedious, where you don't have, like, enemies blocking the exits. You know, I mean, of course, Lunar Pool was never released on Game Boy, but if it was, it would certainly be higher on the list than this. So yeah, it's definitely not as good as Fire Dragon. Barai Fighter is a better game. Because really, this game isn't bad, it's just kind of tedious and slow. And it feels like sometimes you just don't really have much control over what happens. Yeah, it's got that kind of dullness to it. So it's certainly no Barai Fighter Deluxe. Yakuman is a far better game. Megura Depon is better, because at least that game is immediate. You know, there's a real pace to it. It may just be whack-a-mole, but it's whack-a-mole that you can have a decent amount of fun with. Like, it doesn't just stretch itself out far longer than it needs to. It's not as good as Loops. It's definitely not as good as Street Rider. Magic Maze is a better game. I mean, Zip Ball is, I guess, kind of similar. I mean, Zip Ball, there was at least a threat of, like, death. And it felt like you had more control over the ball, just in terms of how it moved. Like, it was constantly moving, but it was always either moving horizontally or vertically. It felt like you could get a better hang of the physics in that game as compared to this. I think that game works better. It's not as exciting as Flipple, an exciting cube game. It's not as good as Duck Adventures. I mean, Pile Wonder is basically a Sokoban clone. No, I think that's a better game. Soul Striker is better. You'd be better off playing that. But it is better than Vex Block. Like, Vex Block is just... What if we remade Clax, but not as good? And it's like, well, there's already multiple versions of Clax anyway. Why wouldn't you just play one of those? Magic Ball is at least something a bit different. It's not great, but there's something to it. It doesn't completely work, but, you know, I can respect the attempt. Again, Vex Block is just kind of pointless. But it's not as good as Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. So, hello Dust Hill resident, I hope you're doing well. We've just finished playing Magic Ball, new number 146. And now, I'm going to attempt to play Crazy Rich Man 2. Or, sorry, Crazy Monopoly 2. Which is probably going to be the same deal as Crazy Monopoly 1. So, again, I really don't think I'm going to be able to rank this one. But we'll take a brief look at it anyway. So here we are on national TV. Shout out to all those folks out there in Taiwan land. All the stick men who could make it. What's going on here? So you'd think this is going to turn into a fighting game. Oh, Sunglasses Man is back! But, no, I'm glad to see you're doing well. Are you doing as well as big-lipped purple person with dog? Like, what even awesome these character designs. I don't know what he's doing. It's like, yep, I'm here too. And, like, Fisherman. Okay, I don't want to know what's going on with the Fisherman's lips. I'm not even going to attempt to question that. Thankfully, I think this may be the last, like, RPG or board game on this list. I mean, the rest of them are pretty much all action games. So, yes, this is Crazy Monopoly 2, also known as Baiwang Dafuweng Jinban. You know, the classic. So, yeah, we got more characters this time. Well, I'm going to go for, I want to see what this person's deal is. Oh, okay, we got more characters, I guess. Yeah, sadly, I don't think there are any fighting games on this. Like I say, the 6-in-1 I've got, like the blue one, does have Soul Falchion on it. But, as I say, I can't get that one into a state where I can actually stream it, because whenever I try to play it on this Game Boy player, it just crashes the Game Boy player. So I think it's just incompatible. Yeah, so I think this is kind of the same deal as the first game, just with more players, I guess. So I can buy the stonks immediately. Here we go, buy the 3,500... No. Maybe I just can't afford any of these. Yeah, so I can afford that one, so... Yeah, this kind of just looks like more of the same. Oh, happy birthday, though. Yeah. Gotta get their classic rendition of the birthday song. Yeah, I think I actually got this from Taiwan, like, at least a decade ago. Probably more than a decade at this point. So yeah, I imported this quite a while back, and... because I wanted to be able to play, you know, the nice code games on real hardware, because they're quite interesting. As I say, unfortunately, a lot of them aren't really playable, at least for me. Again, if you're fluent in Chinese, you can probably play them just fine, but... here we go, welcome to All Points Bulletin. I'm guessing that's meant to say April, but, you know, APB, I guess. So here we go, I've summoned the pig to help me out with my quest. Is there a mode where I can kill Jester? Probably not. There we go, I guess we'll keep going to the right. No, I went past the thing. Oh, so tell Robin I said hello. I hope he's doing well. And yeah, I guess I can't afford any of this. Well, whatever. Anyway, yeah, kind of seems to be the same deal as the first game, except they've just updated a few things. And since I didn't really know what was going on with the first one, we may have to skip that, I think. But there we go, that is Crazy Monopoly 2. But, oh no, we got another one, Spatio Monsters, whatever that means. Is this going to be a sequel to Sanctity Monster? Is this going to be another, what is it, like, strategy RPG game? Oh no, I remember this one. Yeah, this is, I think there was a project to try to translate this into English, actually. But I don't know if that was ever actually finished. I can't remember. But I know that there was a project to try to do that. But again, not sure how far that got. Well, let's see. See what this one's about. If I can get anywhere into it, anyway. So here we go. From the magical year of 2001, the year of Limp Bizkit, and Jane Silent Bob Strike Back. Yes, Persona -1. Yeah, everyone's favourite. No, I think this may have actually been their attempt to do a Pokemon-style game. I think that it's this one, where they were like, yeah, we're just going to try to do that. Because everyone was trying to make a Pokemon derivative back in the day. Though, unlike every other derivative, they didn't make 2 versions of it. I think it is just this one. I do love the faces in this one, though. They're pretty amazing. I want to see if I can get to the best part of this game. Where's the green-haired boy? Because he's the best character in the game. Okay, here we go. Also, yeah, we got a talking cat. Or a talking dog, I can't tell. But yeah, if you ever played Pokemon... A badger, 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 badger! Yeah, if you ever played Pokemon Yellow, and you had Pikachu following you the whole game... Also, I can't select the option, it just won't let me. Okay, this is not the one I was talking about. So I guess... No, I can't select any options. I guess I just haven't gotten to the point in the game where I can do that. Where is green-haired bloke? No, it's not this one. We have Glasses Man. Very foggy glasses at that. You can't even see his eyes. It's like, you want to get that cleaned, mate. Where's the house? Call now, we'll give you a house. So yeah, I guess we just have a talking dog. It says more than Pika. At least the text is fast in this one. Actually, can I go in that computer? Does the game let me do that? No. See, that's one thing I have noticed with these games. I might not know what I'm doing, but I at least know that I can't interact with the objects. I also can't talk to the Pikachu stand-in, which is unfortunate. Oh, I think it's this kid. Okay, let me get to this bit. Yeah, there we go. There's your screenshot opportunity. Yeah, the one phrase in these games I can actually read. I love just how sassy that face is as well. Pretty amazing. But yeah, I don't think we're really going to be able to do much more with this game. But I'll venture out into the overworld anyway. No, like, is that school? It's like, no, we ain't got time for school. What do you think this is, real life? No. Yeah, it's another one of those games where you have to do some task before you can progress with the game. Well, anyway, I think that was the best part of the game we just saw, so... Let's move on to a game that I can play. And I know this because I played for it a couple of days ago. Yes, it is time for Zook! I mean, we gotta have Zook on the list. I mean, come on now. Yes, so first thing to note, this game is actually in Japanese, which is slightly odd. And from what I've read from other people online, this game apparently, yeah, doesn't make any sense. Like, the text is basically unintelligible. And from what I've seen of their English translations, I'm inclined to believe that. Because, yeah, if it's anything like those, then yeah, this basically doesn't make any sense. I mean, what does that say? Like meat? I can't read the rest because it's in hiragana, or whatever. But here we go. We have not Dr. Wily. City being destroyed. It's like, yep, totally not Dr. Wily. It is our own original character, Dr. Meat. Or Dr. Met, or Dr. Mitt, or however you pronounce his name. And here we go. Here is Evil Robot with a knight thing shield on its face. I don't really get that. Also, like, does anyone know what this says? Because I was watching this intro and I'm like, is this just recreating the starting bit from RoboCop? Where, you know, Alex Murphy gets shot while on duty and then they bring him back to life as RoboCop. Is that the plot to this game? Yeah, I think they just wanted to make the game look more legitimate, so they were like, if we put the game in Japanese, people will think it's a real game, and not a bootleg. Yeah, Dr. Meats. No relation to Dr. Grits. Yeah, here we go. Zook Hero Z! Or whatever that says. Oh, see that for an animation now. So, yeah, this game has a password system just like the official Mega Man games on the Game Boy that we've seen before. So I've looked at all of those games, but now the time has come to look at a Mega Man bootleg. Well, actually I say that. We have looked at a couple of them in the past, but those games are from Mackinsoft, so, I mean, do those really count? I mean, saying you played a Mackinsoft game, it's like saying you contracted... it's like saying you contracted TB. And, let's be honest, you know, considering what those games are like, I mean, they're basically at the bottom of the list. Like, literally. So, you compare this to the Mega Man games I've played in the past. So, obviously, I mean, firstly, this is a Game Boy Color game as opposed to a monochrome game. And... yeah, is this based on the cartoon? I'm gonna guess probably not, that seems unlikely. Also, yeah, you see a lot of insta-death spikes in this as well. No, you also get weird stuff like this. So, this... okay. This game has a few sort of odd mechanics that you don't really get in Mega Man. So, like here, you've got alternate paths that lead to items that you need later on in the game. So, basically, you get extra bits of armor, like in Mega Man X. But I don't think you needed them in Mega Man X to beat the game. I think they were... you could skip them if you wanted. But in this game, you actually have to collect them before you can access the last few levels and beat the game. So I'm just trying to think. Oh, I thought there was an item down there, but I guess not. Also, yeah, you may note that the sound engine in this game, they took it directly from Mega Man 5, I think. And in fact, one of the songs in this is a remix of a track from Mega Man 5. So if you're wondering why it sounds so much like that game, that is the reason why. So... okay, let me, no, I'm gonna die here, I think. There we go. Okay, let's try this again, and let's try not to die immediately. Like I said, I have beaten this game, so, you know, at least know how to do this. So, well, I mean, here's the thing. I've played Mega Man bootlegs on this stream, and they tend to be really bad. Although, to be fair, that's also because those bootlegs were made by Mackinsoft, so, I mean, they're going to be terrible by default, let's be honest. I mean, like, the soundtrack alone, I think, makes this better than those games. It's like, oh, this feels like a real game. Although, I don't know how you meant to avoid half this stuff, I've got to be honest. Yep, got to use the health power-up. Also, yeah, the H thing, that's basically extra health. There we go. So, yeah, basically, if you've ever played Mega Man or Mega Man X, this is, I guess, kind of a hybrid of those series. I never got into Mega Man X. You know, I've played for all the NES games, and not a whole lot else beyond that. But, there are some issues with this game, as you'll see. So this is a great example of that in action. So firstly, the stages are clearly based on ones from real Mega Man games. So, like, this one, I think, is really based on Stone Man's level from Mega Man 5. Looks very similar. It's not quite the same, but, yeah, you can tell where they got the inspiration from. Oh. Also, you can dash straight into some spikes and get yourself killed. Yes, it does help that Vast Fame, you know, they employed an actual musician who, I think afterwards went on to... he went into, like, music management. Oh, also, yeah, the game definitely has its issues with controls as well. So, like, you saw right there where I, like, got stuck on the wall and then died almost immediately. Because the game tends to do that a lot, where you want to jump on top of a platform, but you didn't jump high enough, and then you fall into spikes almost immediately. That is a common problem with this game, like, they just place spikes everywhere. And occasionally they place spikes in places where you cannot possibly react to them. And sometimes you'll just dash when you don't actually want to. And then you got sections like this. So this is a good example of the game's jankness on display. So I'll tell you straight up, this is a jank game, as you'll see in a bit. So like that section isn't that bad, but if you jump on the back end of the platform, you can't walk left and right on it, even though you'd normally think that you'd be able to. But this game just doesn't allow you to do that, for some reason. Not sure why. I guess they just couldn't figure out how. Because the engine for this game does seem to be original. Like it's not like they just took the engine from Mega Man. They took the sound driver from Mega Man, but not the actual gameplay. Well, I mean, obviously the gameplay is clearly derivative of it. But you do see stuff like that little graphical glitch on the top of the screen. There's definitely a lot of kinks with this game that they could have ironed out, let's say. But as I say, there's generally quite a bit of jank with this one. So far it seems, you know, like the game generally works fine. Though the enemies very rarely die in one hit. Most of them seem to take 2 or 3. Even ones that look like they should die in one hit, although I suppose you could also say that for Mega Man, for what it's worth. A lot of the really weak-looking enemies just take multiple hits to kill for some reason. But I will say this, audio really good. And you know, actually the graphics are quite good too. Like, this game is from 1999. Like, this is actually quite an early Game Boy Color game. Which is weird, because bootlegs, from my experience, they tend to come out, like, towards the end of a system's life, not the beginning. But I guess the Game Boy Color was the exception, because, you know, it wasn't just Fast Fame, of course. You also had Mac and Soft producing bootlegs as early as 1999 for Game Boy Color. Although, calling those Game Boy Color games is maybe giving them too much credit, because really they barely qualify. I mean, it's Game Boy Color in the sense of, I mean, technically it is programmed to run on Game Boy Color, but also you're actually better off just running it on a monochrome screen. Just so the graphics don't hurt your eyes. But you do get problems like that, where like the enemy just inexplicably stuns you. And here we come across, I would say, the biggest problem with this game, which is the checkpoint system. The checkpoint system in this game is possibly the worst I've ever seen in any game. Like, I was talking before on previous streams about how Mega Man 3 had a really awful checkpoint system where the stages were stupidly long and you only get, like, 2 checkpoints. One of them at the very end of the level and another one, like, about midway. And those are the only checkpoints you get for the whole level. And the stages in that game are really long for no good reason. This game is somehow worse with its checkpoint system. This game, the only checkpoints that you get are for mid-bosses. I think there's like one stage towards the end of the game that does have a mid-level checkpoint that isn't from a boss, and that's the only one I ever came across while playing for it. But every other time, if you don't come across a mid-level, if you don't come across a mini-boss, you haven't come across a checkpoint. Like, again, the checkpoint system is a massive problem with this game. Like, it is... Again, it somehow makes Mega Man 3 on the Game Boy. It somehow makes the checkpoint system in that game look good. And if you remember how much I hated the checkpoint system in that game, that'll tell you something. Yeah, I guess that is kind of the thing. There wasn't really much change between regular Game Boy and Super Game Boy. I don't know, it's just one of those odd things. Like, the Game Boy feels like the odd one out. And you also notice, by the way, the hit detection in this game is terrible. Like, it's one of those games where the hitbox seems to be twice as big as the actual sprite you're controlling. And so you constantly take damage from things that you're, like, at, you know, a reasonable distance from. And it's especially bad with the insta-death spikes. So, like, the ones that you see on the bottom of the screen. You come within, like, 5 inches of them, you die. Like, instantaneously. Unless you've got that invulnerability after taking a hit. That's the only time that you won't get killed by them. And oftentimes they're placed in really cheap locations. I mean, this is one of the worst levels for it. Like, this and the 3rd level have, like, really bad mine placement. As do some of the other levels later on in the game. Where, I mean, try getting that H. I dare you. Like, if you don't jump at, like, the perfect, like, pixel height, you are going to get killed. And it kind of sucks. But yeah, like, you literally have to jump there, otherwise that enemy's going to hit you and you die. Okay, so here we go. So here's a mini-boss. But yeah, you actually... And the thing is, getting to the mini-boss is not the checkpoint. You have to beat the mini-boss, and then you get the checkpoint. Thankfully, this is one of the easier ones, but still. I will say this, though. This mini-boss beam goes hard. Like, whoever they got, I think, what was his name? Hanmin Liao, I think? Something like that. Yeah, that dude knew how to do soundtracks. And regardless of whatever complaints I may have about the gameplay, I will give it this. The soundtrack is top tier. Also, okay, so here's where I actually get to show off the whole thing about the armor. So this thing, you actually need to use the weapon that I got from the first boss to get to it. Not the easiest jump to make, but there we go, did it. The levels are actually very cramped, and I think that may be the big reason why the mines are as annoying as they are. Like that and the hit detection just not being very good. So here we go. See if I can get to this. Step to this. Also, yeah, if I die here, I go back to that checkpoint that I was on earlier. So here we go. So here's one of the items you need to get. Also, I'm pretty sure they just ripped off this artwork from one of the Mega Man X games, but I couldn't tell you for certain. Like I say, I never got into that series. Also, yes, we got the head arm. Yes, the arm for the head. I don't get it. I think it's meant to say head armor, but they, for some reason, abbreviated it. Don't really understand that. By the way, here's one of the best bits. So we got the head armor. And that means we have to do the whole stage again, because even though I got past that mini-boss, and even though that gives you a checkpoint after beating it, the game doesn't keep track of that afterwards. Like, if you get that head armor, it forces you to do the whole stage again, and it sucks. So you gotta do the whole stage again. Like... Okay, I'm pretty sure they did not stick an arm on top of his head. Like, I'm pretty sure we'll be able to see it. Also, good luck dodging half these projectiles as well. Like, the enemies just attack you the instant they appear. I don't know. There's a real... Again, this game is very jank. Like, it's one of those games that I think looks better than it actually is. Like, let's say this. Okay, you watch a playthrough of this game, you might be fooled into thinking that this is some sort of hidden gem. But again, having played through this whole game, I can tell you right now, it's got some serious problems. Like, I've already mentioned the whole problem with the checkpoint system, and how you have to collect those armor bits to get to the last set of stages at the end of the game. And if you get those, you have to do the whole level again. I don't know. There are some interesting ideas. Like, I'll actually show off one of them here, just so you can see what it looks like. So, here's one thing about this game that I do like. So, that's the default weapon. So, let me try to charge this up. See if it works. So, if I charge up the weapon... You'll let me. Oh. Okay, maybe I can't charge that. Okay, maybe that's what the armor's for. I guess later on in the game, you use that to charge up the weapons. Also, these items, they're what refill the weapon meter. So they do have some use at certain parts in the game, but a lot of the time you're just going to be using the regular buster. Also, I don't know if we're going to get to it on the stream, but when you beat 3 of the Robot Master levels, or Maverick levels, or whatever they're supposed to be, you actually get sent to, like, a set of, like, just, I guess, mid-boss levels or something. And there's some really bad level design there, just, like, constant spike traps that kill you instantly. Also, yeah, like, good luck dodging half this stuff. Like, again, everything's too cramped. If there was more space, maybe the whole thing with the spikes wouldn't be as bad. Also, sometimes the game just tosses out 1-ups like crazy. A bit like Mega Man 5. Also, I'm not even going to bother going for that health thing, because, again, if you die, you get sent back to the start of the level, and it's just not worth it. But yeah, sometimes you need that after-hit invulnerability just to get anywhere with this. Like, there are 1 or 2 jumps I'm convinced you basically need that to make them. Because I like he's just stuck in his running animation. So I don't think the mini-bosses have any kind of invulnerability when they get hit. Even though all the main bosses do. But you kind of need that. Thankfully this mini-boss is pretty easy. For the most part. Mind you, I say that, I'm probably going to die now. But, you know. Yep, there we go. I want to at least try to do this boss, and then I'll probably show off one of the other levels. But yeah, there are some parts in this that are just actively just kind of painful. Like that. Like, you would think you could just grab onto the ladder. Nope, you actually have to jump up and then grab onto the ladder, otherwise you fall down and die. It's like, why couldn't you just make the ladder 1 tile bigger? It's like, you couldn't just do that? It's just stuff like that. It's just like, the game is just full of trial and error nonsense like that, where it's just kind of cheap deaths on occasion, where you're just like, well, but why is it like that? And the game is full of that, like, more so than, like real Mega Man games, let's say. But, okay, we'll try the second boss out. I don't remember if this weapon works against it, but we'll try it anyway. Though, actually, I'll say this. The weapons that you get are generally quite good, but later on you do get, like, charged versions of the weapons, which is kind of interesting. So, this is one of the easier bosses. Though sometimes it will do that. But yeah, as you can see, they basically tried to combine the gameplay of Mega Man with Mega Man X. It does have a few of its own ideas, again, like the ability to charge up your super weapons, or like the weapons that you get from the Robot Masters is kind of cool. I do like that, but it doesn't necessarily work all that well, because to charge it up, you have to fire a regular shot, and then it charges up and then you can fire it. Which is not good, because you really don't get much ammo for any of the weapons. So, okay, we'll go to, it's a good level. Let's go to this one. So, here we go. So this is the water level. I don't think the weapons I've got really work on the boss here, but we'll see it anyway. So this one, I think, really is just based on Centaur Man's stage from Mega Man 6. Looks very similar to that. It's got a better soundtrack though, let's be honest. I like Centaur Man. Well, I like his stage. Centaur Man himself is a git. And annoying to fight. But, you know, stage was alright. You don't get the weird, like, upside down water thing that you get in that game though. But, here we go. So, this is another one of the stages that has one of those armor things that you can get. So, like, 4 of the stages have them, and you kind of have to memorize where they are. I think I got lucky in just guessing the right ones the first time. And kind of memorizing them slightly. Oh, also, sometimes the game just does that. So, like, you slide onto the next screen and it's like, oh, well, he kept sliding, so now you just die. As I say, the controls in this game are not great. In places, they're good. So, it's weird. Some aspects of the controls are fine, and then other parts are terrible. Where sometimes you just, like, you don't do what the game... the game doesn't do what you want it to do. Sometimes you keep sliding ages after you should have stopped sliding. And sometimes that just leads to you getting hit like that. It's like you have to tackle certain screens in certain ways. Where if you played as you would just a regular Mega Man game, you know, where you kind of have that freedom where you can easily stop, sometimes it just gets you killed. So, like, I have to hold left, and he keeps sliding, even though... Yeah, it just... Stuff like that just doesn't work. And you also notice, like, the weird sort of graphical glitches, too. And sometimes it feels like you dash when you don't want to. And that, again, can occasionally lead to you just getting killed. I don't know. Again, there are some things about this game that are really good. Presentation, you know, certainly for a 1999 game, and especially for a bootleg game from 1999 is top tier. I do have to give it that. So we go, we've got another mini-boss against the... whatever this thing is. I think you're actually supposed to use the green weapon against it, but since I don't have that... But yeah, so you see here, like, you've got these missiles that you have to avoid. I mean, okay, I messed up, but you can avoid those with just paying some attention. I mean, I'm kind of playing like an idiot right now, but, you know, so be it. But, I can do this and hit the boss this way. But, yeah, the hitbox is actually just the eyes on the boss, which is kind of weird. And if it goes too high, I can't hit it with a regular gun, so I have to do this. Now, one issue that you may notice here is that there's no visible health bar for many of the bosses. Like, basically, you can't see their health bar for whatever reason. Even though the main bosses, like, mostly have visible health bars on screen, for whatever reason, the mini-bosses tend not to have that, which is kind of silly. And also means, like, there's no good way to figure out what their weaknesses are. Like, what weapon is this boss weak to? I don't know. And again, there's really no way to find that out. Unless you can look in the game's code or something. But it's kind of just guessing and just hoping for the best. Although, what's really bizarre too, if you die, or if you beat a level, you actually just get all your weapons back immediately. So, these weapon power-ups, like, I could actually just deliberately get myself killed and get the weapon energy back. Which I don't really understand that. Like, even when you're in the castle levels at the end of the game, you can actually, like, when you beat the level, you just get all the weapon energy back. Which is not necessarily a bad thing. It means that you're not going to end up in a situation where, say, like Mega Man 2, you get to the final boss, and then you don't have any bubble lead left, which means that you deliberately have to lose all your lives and then try fighting the boss with only E-tanks. Not that the boss is hard, but it just sucks having to do that. Yeah, when you have stuff like that. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so that is Zook Hero Z. Where does it go on this list? I mean, this is a difficult one. Because while I was playing through this game, as I say, I found myself frustrated somewhat by just the many issues it has. It's a noticeably buggy game. Sometimes there are certain changes made for the better, but there are certain things that Mega Man has that this doesn't. Mostly polish. Like, there is no polish on this game whatsoever. As I say, it's fairly buggy, and you know, you can't see health bars for many of the bosses, so you don't know what their weaknesses are. There's really no way to find that out. Unless you just keep fighting that same mini-boss over and over until you figure it out. You know, which weapon takes the least amount of damage. The checkpoint system is horrendous. I don't know. I think really what lets this game down, the level design is too cramped, so there's really no way to get around a lot of the time. And the instant death, like spikes and, you know, bottomless pits, are often just placed in really cheap locations, and you have to keep doing the same sections over and over. Just to figure out, like, the exact height the game wants you to jump at. Like, Mega Man had that a little bit, but I think this has it a lot worse. I don't know. It's just a case that there are some good ideas. Like, the fact that you can charge up the super weapons is a good idea, but it's not executed as well as it could be. The graphics and sounds are really good, for the most part. Like, aside from the occasional graphical glitch. But, you know, there's some real bangers on the soundtrack, I will say that. But a lot of the assets are just straight up ripped off from existing Mega Man games. Like, some of the stages, they just have graphics ripped off. Some of the enemies are clearly based on Mega Man enemies. Some of the weapons are based on existing weapons. Like, there's not a lot in the way of originality. It's kind of just, we're going to make Mega Man on the Game Boy Color. And they kind of did. But it doesn't quite... It just doesn't quite work. It's close. It's close to being good. And, I don't know. In terms of what's good, I mean, there is also the fact that the... So, like, the fortresses at the end of the game. One thing I never liked about the later Mega Man games is how you always had to do 2 fortresses, and they always had, like, 4 to 6 levels each, and they take a while to do, and it just takes too long. Like, you know, when you add in all the Robot Master levels, the games are too long. You know, Mega Man 3, I think, is too long. And the later games are probably even worse. This game isn't as bad. The Fortress levels, I think, are 3 levels long each. So, you know, they're not that long. You do get a password after beating the first Fortress, which is a massive point in this game's favour over the Mega Man games, because those games don't give you that. You just have to do both Fortresses in one run, which kind of sucks. They really should just give you a password after the first one. So like I say, there are some good ideas, but it's just... The execution just isn't nearly as good as it could be. And I think that puts it a lot lower on the list than it could be. Like... I don't think this is as good as Burai Fighter. Because it's just too jank, it's too buggy. You know, there's a lot of cheap deaths, and that really is what lets the game down. Again, I wish this game was good, but again, just doesn't quite make it. It's not as good as Burai Fighter Deluxe, but at the same time, you look at the games at the bottom of the list. I mean, you look at the Mega Man bootlegs that I've looked at before, Rockman X and Rockman 8, the Mackinsoft games, which are... Yes, this does predate Mega Man Extreme. And I do have Mega Man Extreme on another multicart. I do want to play through that one at some point, or at least play a decent amount into it, to see how it compares to this. At the very least, I'm pretty sure that game is far less buggy. Let's say that. I mean, I would imagine that is the better game. I don't know for certain, but I would assume so. Because again, I mean, that's an official product, so it's going to have that layer of polish that this game doesn't have. But again, I mean, this is infinitely better than Rockman X. Rockman X basically has nothing going for it. Like, other than it functionally works just barely enough to go above the buffer zone. Rockman 8 had decent graphics and nothing else. Like, the game itself is unplayable, for the most part. There are a couple of levels that are beatable, and beyond that, forget it. Like, the game is reliant on all these moving platforms that you constantly fall through. The game just doesn't work, which is why I don't even qualify that as a game. But, you know, Zook Hero Z, for all of its faults, does not belong down here. It is not one of the worst games I've played. Again, I mean, I at least cared enough to beat this game. Which is more than I can say for most of the games down here. I mean, I beat Superman, and I think that's about it. And I mean, you think about Mega Man 3. Like, Mega Man 3 is technically a more solid game. It's a lot less buggy. But I also look at Mega Man 3, and I go, why would I ever want to play this when Mega Man 3 on the NES exists? Because Mega Man 3 on the Game Boy is a bad game, I think. That game has its fans, but I think it is bad. Like, the stages are too long, there aren't nearly enough checkpoints. Zook Hero Z kind of has the same problems, but at least in Zook Hero Z, you move at a decent speed. Mega Man 3, and the first one for that matter, you move way too slow. You can barely make the jumps. It just feels bad to control. And Zook Hero Z occasionally feels bad to control, but for different reasons. Like, it's rather it just being too jank rather than being too slow, which is, I guess, a more palatable form of bad. But it's, again, not far off from being good. Mega Man 3 just makes me want to play the NES game. Because when you look at that game, most of it is just kind of, we remade a bunch of levels from Mega Man 3 and 4, but did it badly, and why would you play this when the NES games exist? Whereas Zook Hero Z at least is trying to do something different. It's combining two series into one, and basically takes a whole bunch of, like, assets from both. And it's kind of weird, but, like, I at least respect the attempt. Mega Man 3, I just look at it and go, this game should be great, and it sucks. So it's better than that. It's better than Castlevania Legends. It's better than Snoopy no Hajimete no Otsukai. Super Mario 4 gives me a similar vibe to Zook. Hello, Jan, how you doing? But yeah, Super Mario 4 gives me a similar vibe. That game, I guess, is less buggy, but the level design is just as cheap, and it often leaves you in situations where if you don't have the power-ups, you're forced to die. There's just some really cheap design in that game. It's like they tried to compensate for Crayon Shin-chan 4 being too short and easy, and then they overcompensated by just making the game cheap and just full of leaps of faith, and just... yeah, again, that game doesn't quite work either. Zook Hero Z, at least, it aims high. Let's say that. It is a game that aims high. Super Mario 4 tries to be a Super Mario game, doesn't quite work. And it's not even original. It's just, we took Crayon Shin-chan 4, changed a few of the assets to Mario to try to pass it off as a Mario game, and changed the level designs. And took some of the stuff out from the original game. It's like, I would take Zook Hero Z over that. It's better than David Beckham's Soccer, because there's not really much of a game there. You can just walk the ball into the net. I mean, Zook Hero Z at least offers a challenge. It's better than Holy Magic Century, better known as Bad Mr. Do. It's better than Wizards and Warriors Chapter 10, Fortress of Fear. It's better than Bubble Bobble Jr. Like, at least this game doesn't constantly make me pause the game to see where the enemies are. So it's more palatable than that. It's better than The Jungle Book. It's better than SD Lupin Sansei Kinko Yaburi Daisakusen, whatever. It's better than Solar Striker. Like, Solar Striker is just a little too basic to really be worth playing nowadays. It's playable enough, but I don't really care for it. It's better than Duck Adventures, just because it's got more going on. I'd take this over Crayon Shin-chan 6. It's better than Zip Ball. Is it better than World Bowling? I mean, World Bowling is a perfectly fine bowling game. Yeah, I think World Bowling is just a little bit too solid. Like, yeah, it's not as good as World Bowling. World Bowling may be mundane, but it works. It's better than Zip Ball. It's better than Magic Maze, but it's not as good as World Bowling. It's our new number 131. Okay, so let's see what the next game is on the list. Okay, so that was Zook. Actually, how many games do we have left? So, let's see. Sword Fighter, Zook 2. Okay, so what have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can I do all of these today? I'll give it a go. Take a look at Sword Fighter anyway. What was Sword Fighter? I can't remember. Oh, wait, is this Soul Falchion? I forgot if it was on this. Also, I like that they just took all of the names from Mortal Kombat. Well, some of them. It's like, yep, who needs original names when you can just take all of them from an existing fighting game? Also, yeah, Kang in the house. The legend. So, I guess they were like, you know, let's just make Soul Blade for the Game Boy. Or Soul Calibur, but with, I guess, their own original characters. Yeah, where's Baraka? You know, where's Sector? Also, yeah, Rai, the legend. You know, Soho, the one-man company. Cheng. No relation to Homer Cheng, I'm sure. Also, how many characters are in this? I forgot there were this many, just in the intro. But yeah, here we go. Soul Falchion! AKA Sword Fighter, apparently. Hold on. Actually, I need to add this game to the list, because I'd forgotten this game was on the cartridge. Hold on, let me fix this. Normally, I'd list all these games, or I add them to the thing to be ranked. Shout out to Quark, by the way, for making the list system that I decided to use for my own list. So, here we go. We got difficulty levels, we can have infinite time. I actually get a lot of time options. You can set it to 10 seconds if you want, which is interesting. I do like the options that you get for this. Well, let's see what we've got. So, single play, team play. So, this may look a bit familiar. So, you might remember the King of Fighters bootleg I played, and yeah, King of Fighters 97, and I suspect that Vast Fame may have been involved in that. I'm not certain, but it seems probable. So, we got all these different characters that we can play as. So, who have we got? We're going to go for Green Man, who becomes blue when you select him. Bald Man, because I imagine he's got something up his sleeve. And Beard Man. Oh, does it? Yeah, that sounds about right. I remember you could also set it to no damage. Okay, let's start. Soul Falchion, select the order. Also, nice to see those cool default fonts making a comeback. So, I'm not going to lie, I don't know how you control these characters. There we go, we got Kida, how you pronounce it. So, yeah, you may remember the King of Fighters bootlegs I played, and again, I think they're essentially, this essentially is based on those. Like, they basically built the engine on them. Also, it turns out the AI is super aggressive when you start out. Also, yeah, you might recognize the music, incidentally. If you've ever played, well, any game that Syntax ever made on the Game Boy Advance, they did use music from this. I wonder how many games allow you to do that. That'd be interesting. Also, yeah, for the record, I don't know what the controls are for these characters, so I'm just kind of guessing. I'm kind of just doing, like, quarter circle inputs and hoping for the best. Well, Wang seems to at least be quite fast, so there is that. Yep, and AI did super moves, so now I'm buggered. But yeah, this seems to play very similar to the King of Fighters games. Like, they kind of just took that, made it in full colour, and just made up their own characters. It's like they basically took that game and was like, let's just do our own OCs. Also, it does seem like you have to block. Like, the AI always gets the first hit. Or the opponent, whatever we're supposed to call them now. Oh! Oh. Wait, is Huang the, is he the stand-in for Mai Shunui? Because I'd be down for that. I'm always down for some Mai action. In fact, I think I actually beat one of the, I think it was King of Fighters 96. I think I actually beat that game on stream. No, take this, Mac! That's what you get for being an error. No, I'm taking you down. Boom! Okay. You'll try to at least beat a fight of this. But yeah, it's got that whole King of Fighters thing where you can do team battles or, you know, one-on-one battles. Which is good. You know, because normally you can't do that in Soul Calibur or anything like that. I can't think of any, like, weapons-based fighting games where that's an option. Maybe there is one and I'm just not familiar with it. Oh, we got the super! Let's go. Okay, well, I didn't quite finish him off. But yeah, always a good feeling when you finish him off with a super. I mean, I'm rubbish at fighting games, but I do enjoy the King of Fighters Game Boy games. So just more of that is fine by me. The China Kung-Fu! Yeah, can't go wrong with a bit of old China Kung-Fu. Wait. Wait, what's going on? What? Why have I got the same character 3 times? What's going on? Okay, you know, let's see what the old man has going on. Cheng. So yeah. Oh no, Cheng looks similar, but I can't remember who's based on. But yeah, note the fact that this game has 20 characters, which is quite a lot. Especially for, like, a Game Boy Color game. So you might expect from, like, Tekken. Also, I don't know what this dude's button inputs are. Is it like... It's not like holding, is it? Hold on, this isn't like... Yeah. Maybe I gotta hold the button down for this one. I don't know. I guess that's the problem with games like this. There's no way to look up the moves in-game most of the time. The only game I can think of that had that would have been the Tekken games, where you could go into the training mode and learn what the moves are. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this game doesn't have that. But to be fair, I mean, it being a Game Boy Color game and a bootleg, you really wouldn't expect it anyway. Okay, I guess I won. But again, the game looks really good. I think the music tracks in this are original. I mean, the sound engine isn't. But again, I'm pretty sure the compositions are original, at least. And, yeah, the game itself is very fast, it has to be said. Like, there were other fighting game bootlegs that Fast Fame made prior to this. I think those games were... I think they used bigger sprites than this or the King of Fighters bootlegs. No, and I lost. Okay. But yeah, like I say, the King of Fighters bootlegs, or rather the games using the engine that... the games using the engine that Fast Fame made, I think the ones prior to this had bigger sprites than the other games, but I think they had a bit of, like, button delay. Yeah, okay, Wang is definitely my dude. I gotta be honest. You know, because when I've got this move, that's when I know I'm in business. Yeah, now getting your super off. I demand victory. Hold on, actually, how do I do my super? Is it like double quarter circle forward? I don't know. Nope, couldn't block that. But I mean, the game plays perfectly fine. It plays very much like the King of Fighters games. It doesn't have, like, some weird jank to it like the Zook game does. I think because with this one, they just took an existing engine and made their own game out of it. So, yeah. Generally, that works quite well. Also, wait, did he have a taunt move? Like, a taunt move's a thing in this? I don't know how you do them, but that'd be interesting. Oh, here we go. We're in business now. Oh, actually, I might lose here. Gotta give it a go. But, like, you see how fast the game is. Like, most Game Boy games just weren't like this. I think the King of Fighters games were, but even those might be a little bit slower by comparison. No, here we go. Nope. Wanger's down. Time for the ultimate battle of, Here we go. Yeah. Kaida versus Kaida. Oh, the mirror match. Yeah, thankfully they do at least have the sense to give, you know, the second character a different colour palette, so you can at least tell who you're fighting. Oh, I'm trying to see if I can do a super, but I don't think I have the charge for it. Nope, I did it. Boom! We win. Yeah. Look at my power. I am the best. Guess what? Yeah, you still go home to suck a breast? Yeah. They're never going to be able to recover from that. You know, I'm probably going to save Wang for last. We'll do another fight. As I say, I mean, I've played games like this before, so... I'm not sure we really need to see that much more of this one. But yeah, I'm down for this. And I'm thankful that I can actually stream this game. I was worried I wasn't going to be able to play it, because that other cartridge just doesn't work on the Game Boy player. But yeah, it's like, what if King of Fighters, but everyone has a blade? And you cannot go wrong with that. Ugh! Wait, is this just Nakaruru? I think they may just be using the same sprites, but just coloured in. Because I know Nakaruru was in, I think, King of Fighters 95. I think it was also in the King of Fighters 97 bootleg. So I guess it makes sense that they would just be using character sprites from that game. Here we go, so here's Cheng. Like, who is Cheng based on? I know he's based on a character from another game. It's like one of the blokes from Samurai Showdown, isn't it? Oh yeah, Makaroo, my favourite. But yeah, the moves are working pretty well. You know, considering that I don't actually know what the movesets are, I'm getting by pretty well. But there is a hard mode, so, you know, if I really want to challenge myself, you know, there is that option. I do find it funny that you can just say to 10 seconds. If you want to beat the game super quick, there is that option. I just didn't feel like doing it. Also, I don't know what happens when you get to the last two fights. I'm guessing maybe there are two boss characters that you have to fight. Oh, is he from Last Blade? Okay. I was going to say, I haven't played Last Blade myself. So I was all super there to finish it off. I totally meant to do that. Also, yeah, you get a bit of health back, but not much. So, much like in, yeah, other games using this engine, let's say. So here we go, Cybot. Yep, looking very different here, I remember. Oh. No, I'm probably going to lose here in a bit. Ugh. No! Oh. Nope, and we're down. Nope, we lose. Actually, I kind of want to see what happens if you lose a fight in this. I'm guessing it's just a case that you have to continue, but, you know. Okay, let me deliberately play badly, just so I can see what happens. And also just experiment with the controls a bit. So I'm trying to see if, like, half circle does anything. Or maybe, like, maybe, like, the full 360 motion. But yeah, half circles don't really seem to do much. Also, ooh, AI's just going berserk. It's gone mad that I'm not actually doing anything. Nope, and that's it. Perfect! It's funny, actually. I was watching Top of the Pops last night, like the reruns. And it's really funny that back in 1998, you could have a top 10 hit that was just like a dance beat that was just sampling the Street Fighter 2 sound effects, like perfect, Hadouken, and that was a top 10 hit back in the day. You know, like where did we go wrong as a society that was no longer a possibility? You know. Okay, what does Cybot have to say? What does it say? Who is the next? Weren't they the boy band that did the Too Close song? Okay, what? Actually, I want to see. Is there a cheat code where you can enter the what is it? Is there a cheat code in this where you can do the dip switch mode? Because if so, that would put this over the top. I'm gonna check this now because I feel like that might be a thing. But then again, we've already got 20 characters on the menu. I'm guessing there probably aren't any additional ones. No, I can't see one. Trying to see if there's a... Yeah. Okay, so I don't think there are any codes in this game. I was hoping it would have the dip switch mode. Anyway. Yeah, I think the song was just called Kung Fu. I can't remember who made it. But it was a thing back in 1998. Anyway, let's try to figure this out. Where does Soul Falchion go on the list? Well, let's be honest. It's a better game than Zook Hero Z. Zook Hero Z might be more original in certain ways in terms of the engine, at least. However, yeah, Soul Falchion, I think, is the better game. Yeah, because, I mean, Soul Falchion, basically they took the King of Fighters bootlegs, or even just the King of Fighters original games. Like, I don't know which one it's based on, if it's 97 or 96, but they took one of those and basically just made a colour version of it with their own characters and possibly different movesets. Yeah, it's a really good game. It's a really solid one all around. It doesn't have the jank of Zook Hero Z, so it's better than that. It's better than Ant Soldiers. It's way better than that conversion of Street Fighter 2, I can tell you that. It's better than Looney Tunes Carrot Crazy. It's better than Puzznick. It's better than Pac-Man and Ms. Pac-Man. It's better than Kirby's Dream Land. It's better than both the monochrome and colour versions of Drop Zone. It's better than Flintstones. It's better than Netto the King of Fighters 97. Because Netto the King of Fighters 97, what keeps that game out of the top 10 is the fact that you don't have Terry Bogard or Geese Howard. But that's because it was in the setting of King of Fighters. Like, you expect those characters to be there. Soul Falchion has its own made-up characters, half of whom have the same names as characters from Mortal Kombat, but they are kind of their own weird versions of existing characters. It's a weird one. But you don't have that stigma of there are certain characters who should be here but aren't, because it kind of just exists in its own world. It's a bit of a funny one. But, yeah, I really like this game. You know, it is certainly better than Netto King of Fighters 97. It doesn't have the dip switch function, but it does have 20 characters, all of them available from the beginning. I don't think it has a dip switch function anyway, unless I'm... Hold on. We need to check this. Because now I need to know for certain. Okay. Actually, let me try this out. If it will let me in. Which button was select? Because I forget how you access the dip switch mode in this. Hold on, am I pressing the right button? I actually don't know. Yeah, this might not have it. Yeah, okay, I think... Yeah, I think what you get is what you've seen, or what you've already seen. Yeah, and actually just looking at the dip switch options, I don't think there's a whole lot in there that you don't normally get in the game anyway. Well, actually, yeah, because, I mean, there are certain things in the dip switch option, like codes or whatever, that you just don't really have in Soul Falchion, and I think that's the one thing that kind of holds it back. So, just thinking about this, yeah, I mean, if we look at the top 10, I mean, we've got a couple of games up there. I would not put this... I certainly wouldn't put it above Netto King of Fighters 96, just because the game has those dip switches that do add something extra to the game. I don't think there's a way to do that in Soul Falchion. I don't think the game has that at all. Or if there is, no one's figured out how to access it. So it's not going above that. I don't think it's quite as good as Real Bout Fatal Fury Special. I think, again... Again, because the dip switches. Just having that sort of extra thing where you can change certain game modes or trigger sort of extra gameplay features that just affect how you play. That does add something extra to both of those games. And even King of Fighters 97. But you don't have that here. But this game is in full colour. It's in full colour. You have 20 characters. Is it better than Real Bout Fatal Fury Special? I don't know. I'm going to say, yeah, it's better... No. It's better than Real Bout Fatal Fury Special, but it's not better than Space Invaders. So I'm going to put it as our new number 5. But hey, top 10 game. Soul Falchion, you cannot front on it. You know, it is a classic. But I think that may do for today, because I'm going to have my dinner in a bit. I got some stuff to do this evening. Unfortunately, I don't have all night to play these games. I wish I did. But maybe next weekend we can take a look at such classics as Zook 2, West Story, Devilland, Yay Rude Prince, Rainbow Prince, Lasama, and Top Secret. So, I'll see you then. Take care.